All right. What's up, everybody? I say everybody. There's nobody watching this at the moment, and I don't anticipate that there will be a lot of people watching this at any point. But hopefully, the subscribers, those of you who do subscribe, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Hopefully, you will get a chance to see this once it uploads to my video feed after the fact. But just wanted to share some thoughts on the way the Olympics played out. Exciting finish this morning. One of the crazier ones I think we've seen in any major competition in a long time. I mean, to see that much change in the leaderboard on the back nine was pretty incredible. Congratulations to Scottie Scheffler, gold medalist. Add that to the resume. 7 wins now this year. One of the better years that I can recall from any professional golfer in my lifetime. Feeling very Tiger-esque. I usually hate to make those types of comparisons because Tiger's always been in a class of his own, but you win 7 tournaments in a season, a gold medal, a major, the Players' Championship, a couple of signature series events. It's hard not to take that very seriously. So this is a big time year for Scottie Scheffler at this point, and he deserved it. Down the stretch, he was nails. Hit all the shots he needed to hit. The putter got hot. Even made a 5-footer for par at the last hole. I mean, that is a distance putt that Scottie, as we all know, has really struggled with at times. Not as much this season, but his last couple of starts, I mean, lost some strokes gained putting at the Open Championship a couple weeks ago, was not very solid on the greens. To bounce back like that with a gold medal on the line and get it done, huge. So congratulations to Scottie. The first thing I kind of wanted to start with is the Player of the Year conversation. I know that it feels like the majority of people online, when I do read some comments out there, are very much under the impression that Scottie is the Player of the Year, will win Player of the Year. There is a growing contingency, I will say, for people who think Xander should be Player of the Year because he won 2 majors. He won the most majors, and therefore he's Player of the Year. I would like that conversation to be done as of today, right? I mean, you're talking major, gold medal, Players' Championship, 4 other wins. He's got triple the amount of earnings of Xander at this point. And in case you didn't notice, every one of these big marquee wins that Scottie has had this year, Xander was in the field. He beat him head-to-head. I mean, he's predominantly beaten Xander head-to-head. And to be honest with you, I think he probably would have beat him at the PGA Championship too had he not gotten arrested on his way to the golf course day 2. I think that kind of threw off all of his momentum for the weekend and ultimately probably proved to be the difference. He finished in 8th even while getting arrested. Xander went on to win his first major. He played super well. I don't want to take anything away from him. But that being said, I mean, it seems pretty clear at this point, especially when you add gold medalist to the resume, this has just been the year of Scottie Scheffler. I mean, there's just no other way around it. Xander has had a fantastic year. I think he's clearly the second best player in the world right now. The two of them seem to be head and shoulders above third and beyond. We could have a conversation about how Bryson factors in here, how Rory factors in here, but the reality is from a week-to-week basis, there's really nobody outside of those two guys that has shown this level of consistency and has won the big events that they have won. So they're clearly 1-2, but this is Scottie Scheffler's year, like full stop. I understand Xander won more majors, and when we look back 20 years from now, maybe all we're going to remember is that Xander won more majors that year, maybe. But it doesn't change the fact that when you take the entire season and give it some context, Scottie Scheffler clearly has been the better player this year over Xander Schauffele. So that's number one. The other thing, golf course related to the Olympics, coming into the week, I kind of figured just based on the way the Ryder Cup went in 2018 or even what I've seen messing around on Le Golf on SkyTrack, this is definitely a ball striker's course. If you drive the ball well, if you're a good iron player, it doesn't really matter if you're a great putter, you're probably going to score pretty well. And from what I saw, look at the top 3 guys on the podium. I mean, what do you think of when you think Scottie Scheffler or Tommy Fleetwood or Hideki Matsuyama? You think elite ball striker. Very good iron players, very good drivers of the golf ball, all 3 of them. Would you think of any of them as great putters? No. It's probably not the first thing that comes to mind. It's not to say that they're bad putters. It's just not what they're typically known for. Yet they're the three guys standing on the podium at the end of the day. I really think that's how this golf course is set up. It's tight off the tee, very thick rough on both sides. Saw how that got to Tommy Fleetwood there on the 71st hole. Just couldn't control his spin coming out of the rough, and hit it long, made a bogey. Ultimately, the difference between silver and gold for him. But if you can just place your ball where it needs to be placed, fairways, greens, all week long, you're going to be fine. So I'm expecting that when we get into the ladies competition next week, it's going to be a similar sort of ball strikers rising to the top leaderboard. So that being said, I mean, expect Nelly Korda to probably be a very prominent figure on the leaderboard. We'll probably talk more about the ladies side in a couple of days as it gets closer to the event. But I think for the most part, the crop of players that were up there that had a chance, that had a medal around their necks and let it slip through their fingers, the guys who did grab medals, I mean, it's pretty much the guys that we figured we'd see, or at least I figured that we would see, just based on the fact that this is how the golf course wants to be played. It rewards very good ball striking, and all the guys who are up there were dominant at that. Typically are, right? So you don't have to be the best putter. You got to make putts when they count, like Scottie Scheffler proved today. Made big putts when they counted. But that being said, you can hang around and you can give yourself a chance all week long on this golf course if you just hit the ball well. So that was one thing that really stood out to me, and it certainly played out that way. From a leaderboard standpoint, probably the best one we've seen in golf this year, if I'm being honest. The majors have had some good ones, but every time we get, live golfers and PGA Tour players and DP World Tour players into the same event, it's same thing. Really, really good leaderboards, lots of competition. I just think, again, long term, I've been saying for a long time, golf has to unite on some level. I mean, we can't have a couple of events a year where we get fantastic leaderboards with a lot of drama like this, and then everything else is forgettable. It's just not good for the sport. And I don't know when that's coming. Seems like every couple months, the tour and live, they say that they're close, the negotiations are ongoing, they're happy with the progress that's being made. I still don't know if that's true or not, but I do know that the sooner we can get everybody under one umbrella again and we can have some more leaderboards that look kind of like what we saw here at the Olympics, the better off we're going to be. Looking at the comments here, Rom is good. Rom is good. He had a terrible back nine today. I do not know what happened there. I mean, I made some notes. The only thing that really stands out to me, Rom, who had, a 4-shot lead at one point going into the back nine, maybe 5. And then the wheels just completely came off. People will probably make jokes about the live thing. He only plays 54 holes, most events these days. So he just kind of ran out of gas, maybe. I don't know that that's necessarily true. He's won enough 72-hole tournaments in his life that he should know how that works, but maybe to some extent, maybe. More so than anything else, I think it's a different pressure when you're playing for your country, for a medal like that. Gold, silver, bronze, doesn't matter. I mean, you're just playing for an opportunity to get on that podium, and I think it means something different to each one of these guys. Can't tell you what it means to them. I'll never be an Olympian, but I would imagine that that's just a huge moment. And you get onto that back nine and you look at that leaderboard, you're 4 or 5 shots clear of the field, and all of a sudden it feels like that gold medal's already hanging around your neck. That's probably a weird feeling, especially with how much trouble is that. There's water on most of the holes on that back nine. Like I said, it is a difficult golf course. Narrow fairways, very demanding greens. Again, it's not the hardest thing to see a lead slip through your fingers. So I feel for Jon Rahm. I think he's going to be feeling this one for a while. He talked a little bit about it after the fact and just said, I don't know how long he said it'd take me to process this. I feel like I let my country down. It's always a heavy thing to say, heavy thing to think. I'm sure that there are plenty of Spaniards out there who are still plenty proud of the work he did this week. But yeah, it's just got to be a different kind of pressure. This is something that no golfer really grows up ever dreaming about, thinking of, am I going to be an Olympian? Am I going to wear a gold medal someday? Most golfers that you see out on tour these days, regardless of the tour, They grew up in a world where golf was not an Olympic sport. So you didn't have this dream. You wanted to be a major champion. You wanted to be on the PGA Tour, wanted to make a nice living playing golf. That's all fine and good. Nobody ever really thought about being an Olympian. Now that you're here, it's like, well, yeah, I would love to do the best I can. And would it be very cool to win a medal? Absolutely. But then when you get into the thick of it and it's like that gold medal is right there, you've got your hands on it. I mean, it's got to be something, again, that Rom, really most of this field, unless you've played in one of these Olympic events before, I mean, it just, how do you really prepare yourself for that moment? I'm sure that it is heavier, more stressful than most probably imagine it's going to be. You try to treat it like any other golf tournament, but that's not always going to be the case. So another thing I will note, Rory's comments after the tournament. He said, it's funny how with, the shit show that has become professional golf, the two events that are probably the best in the whole sport are the only two where nobody plays for any money. And he's, of course, talking about the Ryder Cup and now the Olympics. And I do think that is interesting because this is the one thing that I think LIV has just absolutely dropped the ball on that they do not understand is fans do not care at all how much money golfers are getting paid. All we know as fans is they're making a lot more than we are, and they're getting paid to play a sport, right? They're doing very well for themselves, whether it's sponsors taking care of them, it's the purses in regular tour events, LIV events, the signature series on tour. It doesn't matter. Like, they're all getting paid really well. And like I said, I think the reality is that does not resonate with fans. They do not care. And it shows in LIV's ratings week after week. Nobody cares about the money aspect, which is really the only difference that LIV has at this point. I mean, yeah, they tout this team thing, but it's not really team golf. I mean, you ever seen any of those guys play with a partner? I haven't, right? They're still just playing golf and adding it up at the end like it's a team event, kind of like college golf. But I mean, it's still an individual sport. They're just getting paid a lot more money, but that doesn't jive with anybody. And it is interesting how the two events where the only thing these guys have to play for is pride are like the two events that are easily the most fun to watch because you can see what it really means to them. Like the fist pump, the emotion from Scottie Scheffler when he made that birdie putt on 17 today to take the lead, like that, you just don't get that in LIV golf. You can't, because everybody's already been paid and all they're playing for is an opportunity to get paid again, and they're all very comfortable. It's all fine and good. They don't care. It doesn't make a difference, right? So I'm not saying that golf needs more events where nobody gets paid and everybody's got to go out there and just play for pride. But I think it does speak volumes to this conversation long-term of the tours needing to unite, the PGA, LIV, trying to come to some form of an agreement. I think both sides clearly can agree that, like, it's not necessarily the money that's going to make the product better. It's just you just need more drama. How can we create more drama? Paying guys more money is not going to do that. So, I think the sooner that certainly the Saudi side, the LIV side can come to some form of understanding here that, like, that's not going to be the difference in terms of creating an audience and really captivating them and keeping them is money, like, then I think golf is probably going to be better off. So, again, we'll see what happens on that front going forward, but I thought Rory was absolutely right. They are the two best events in golf right now, and it is very interesting how they are the only two currently where the players are not getting paid to be there. So the last thing that I'm going to leave here with, actually, I did want to mention Tom Kim came very close to the podium, and as a South Korean, he actually would have been exempt from mandatory military service, 21-month military service, had he won a medal today. Came up a couple shots shy, playing with his good friend Scottie Scheffler. You could see the emotion from Tom Kim signing his scorecard. I don't know if it hit him right at that moment, like, I didn't get a medal, I'm gonna have to join the South Korean military now. I don't know, but I can't even imagine how brutal that's got to be, just knowing, like, it was right there, get out of military service. Again, I know nothing about what the military service on the mandatory side for South Koreans entails. Maybe somebody can educate me on that front. But you could tell that he was a little emotional about it, signing his scorecard. Part of it might have just been, he wanted the medal, not so much to get out of military service, but because it just means that much to him to represent his country and win a medal and to do well. And he was right there, but it is a a pretty staggering dynamic when you think he walks off that golf course without the medal and has to now join the military. I don't know exactly when that is supposed to start, and maybe he'll still earn some sort of exemption. I think athletes have an ability to work that out with their government there. Again, I do not know, but I do know that that was one of the storylines coming into this final round, is if he can find a way to finish on that podium, that would make him exempt from mandatory military service. So something to keep an eye on, because Tom Kim is actually rallying. He's having a very good second half of the year. So hopefully he can keep up that momentum and find himself back in the winner's circle soon. The last thing I want to point out, and this is more advice, because this is more of an advice page that I try to run. I'm trying to help people play better golf. So here's something I want to point out. Early in the week, the Olympics had a bunch of players hold up a little whiteboard, and on it they wrote their nickname, their favorite Olympic event, how many Olympics they had competed in, and what their goal was for the week coming in. And pretty much everybody, to a man, I saw 10 of these, and 9 out of the 10 under goal for the week, they had written either win a medal or win gold, something to that effect. So right off the bat, I don't want to say you're setting yourself up to fail, but when you set the bar that high, like the goal this week, the only thing I'm playing for is a medal or a chance to win a gold medal, that's kind of setting yourself up for failure. You could finish in 4th out of a very good field, one of the better fields we've seen in all of golf this year, and you would still have to look back at that week as a failure because you did not win a medal. You did not get the gold medal that you ultimately set out to try and win. The one player wrote something other than win a medal or win gold on their chart for what they wanted to accomplish this week, and that was Scottie Scheffler. And he wrote, have fun. He is the one player who wrote have fun or did not write some variation of win a medal. The only one. He was the only one that went into this tournament with a realistic goal, a realistic expectation, and sure enough, he is the guy who comes out on top. There is a lesson to be learned here. Now, I'm not a sports psychologist, so I can't tell you exactly what that lesson is, but I can tell you that Scottie Scheffler won this week before he ever even teed it up. His only goal this week was to have fun. Well, what's more fun than representing your country, being in the Olympics, having a chance to play a fantastic golf course in Paris, France for 4 days and try to do your best. Try to win a medal, right? And I think the bigger part of the lesson here is for all golfers, when you are starting out and you are trying to get better, you got to be realistic about each of these checkpoints on your journey. You're not just going to be a 20 handicap one day and shoot 69 the next day, right? I mean, because you took one lesson or you watched a couple of my YouTube videos, right? Like that's never going to happen. If your goal is, I want to break 80 for the first time, and you're currently shooting in the upper 90s, low hundreds, right? You can't just expect to shoot that score the next time you go play because you got a couple of good pointers. That's just not how this sport works. There have to be checkpoints, and you have to just keep chipping away at them, right? But keep giving yourself goals that are attainable, right? So if you shoot in the hundreds, next time you go play, how about, I don't lose any golf balls, doable, right? Just start picking some better targets, understand your shot shapes, right? If you 3 and 4 putt a lot, how about just better speed control, all 2 putts, or less, if you're currently averaging more than, 3 putts around, how about just less than 3, right? But just keep giving yourself goals along the way that are attainable, so that each time you play, it feels like you did accomplish something. You moved a step closer to that long-term goal of yours. I can guarantee you that Scottie Scheffler's long-term goal this week was win gold medal, but he didn't write it on the board because that's not necessarily an attainable goal. Not right off the bat. Sure, if you're the number 1 player in the world, more attainable than most, but the reality is his only goal was have fun. That's super attainable. Every day he can go out there and have fun. And if he just goes out there and he has fun 4 days in a row and he happens to also be the best player in the field, well, it's probably going to add up in the form of a pretty decent result for Scottie Scheffler. In this case, it was a gold medal, and it was a bogey-free 62 in the final round. So my message here, what I'm leaving you folks with, is just make your goals attainable. Make them realistic and break down your long-term goal into much smaller, much more digestible parts that you can actually check off each time you go out and play or practice, because long term you're actually going to see the progress that way. But I thought it was very fascinating. And there is definitely a lesson to be learned here. I'm going to leave it to the real sports psychologists. But I think it is fascinating that all these very, very talented players from around the world held up a little whiteboard on Wednesday afternoon. All of them wrote, win a medal, win a medal, win gold, win a medal. Scottie Scheffler, the only player, numero uno, the only one who wrote have fun as his only goal for this week in Paris. And he is your gold medalist. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. Again, I thought the Olympics were fantastic. This event just keeps getting better and better. Certainly one of the more captivating events we've seen in golf this year. So I'm hoping that, yes, Scottie is the GOAT. He is, well, Tiger's the GOAT, but Scottie is clearly a modern era GOAT. He is pretty unbelievable, to say the least. Yeah, I mean, this is, like I said in the beginning, thanks for joining now. You can hopefully go back and watch this on my channel at some point here. I don't know exactly how it uploads. This is the first time I've tried a live video, but just wanted to share some thoughts on the Olympics. And yeah, Scottie is the GOAT. He's also the player of the year on the PGA Tour, without a question. I know, again, there will be some people who say Xander, but greatest of right now. Yeah, Scottie is clearly the greatest of right now, and will probably be the best next year and the year after that, and for the foreseeable future. You hit it as solid as he does, you're going to see yourself on a lot of leaderboards, especially now that he's got the putter figured out. So yeah, so again, I'll leave it there. Congratulations to Scottie Scheffler, gold medalist. Again, I'm not going to dive too much into what happened to Xander, what happened to Jon Rahm. I mean, it's golf. Golf's hard, you know. That's what I do know. So folks, it's been a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your Sundays, and remember, make those goals attainable.